Hope everyone had a great Canada Day long weekend. There's a lot of news going around here. Canada is certainly not a boring country in terms of our news cycle and politics right now. I do have an announcement. I did share it on my Twitter. I did share it on my community tab. And I can't help but smile. My son was born on Canada Day. It was meant to be, I suppose. Absolutely incredible. I will show you the post that a lot of people did see on X, and I did do one similar on my community tab. I'm a proud Canadian with a daughter who is almost 2 and a son who was born today on Canada Day. I'm extremely grateful and blessed. Thank you, everyone, for the support. And it is a phenomenal feeling. I am so incredibly grateful to have not just one healthy daughter who's almost 2 years old, but a son now. And I'm feeling like I'm on top of the world. So thank you, everybody, for the support. Thank you, everybody, for contributing to the diaper fund and just allowing me to have any sort of platform here and a voice and entrusting me with, sharing the news and listening to my opinions. It truly means a lot. And I'm going to go out and say that maybe my son could be a future Canadian Prime Minister born on July 1st. That's pretty patriotic. I will say. So we're going to have to wait and see. By no means am I going to force any of my kids into any field at all, right? Absolutely not. Politics certainly is not at the top of the list. And I have lots of hopes. And I also expect the country to be on a much, much better path as they grow up from what it is right now. But I mean, who knows, right? I'm obviously pretty politically all vested in this, right? I got lots of interest, so we're gonna have to wait and see if I got some little copycats that turn it into suits and ties type of thing. But nonetheless, welcome back to another video, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel. And without further ado, let's get into the video here. So we're gonna start off with the polls. You have the Conservatives sitting at 218 projected seats with a bottom line of 184, which this obviously it couldn't look any better than this, folks. Bottom line 184. You only need 172 for a majority government. So it seems like they are well on their way to having a majority government, which is, perfect. It means that no matter what coalition, they're going to be able to pass things without any hesitation, and we can get the country back on the right track. 99% likely with most seats and 99% likely of winning a majority government. So everything there is looking good. On the flip side, speaking of Ottawa, this isn't really looking good. This is having a tremendous amount of backlash. Ottawa is considering buying hotels to house a growing number of asylum seekers, which is not boding very well with Canadians. How about we don't take in as many asylum seekers and we just pause immigration for a little bit, and we take that money that we're given to other countries that are at war that we're not even in alliance with, and we take that money and we put it into our own economy, and let's just see what that does. Because I think people are starting to get really angry with how things are run, not just our economy, but with immigration and asylum seekers. I get it, right? Canada always been a peaceful country. Canada always been peacekeepers. I totally get that. It sucks that we're now at a crossroads where it's okay, asylum seekers, how many? Should we cut back on that too? It really sucks that we're at that point. But I didn't get us to this point. Someone did, and they should be held accountable for getting us to this point where people are just absolutely fed up. But we're going to shift away a little bit from Ottawa and head out to the West Coast. Man, for those who don't know, this is Banff here, and it's just absolutely, pause that weird music, absolutely beautiful, beautiful place. This is one of my favorite areas in all of Canada. This isn't politics at all. Just to fucking ease the mind. Let me just take an aloe vera ice pack and put it on your mind and share a beautiful piece of our beautiful country. That road between Banff and Jasper, that Icefields Road, is just one of the best roads in the entire world. And I've been to a lot of countries. Obviously, I haven't seen the entire world, but I absolutely love this country, and that's why we're fighting so hard to save it, right? Not just to fix our economy, but to preserve our beautiful land and to keep Canada this incredible country. And I have faith that we surely can do that. Speaking of faith, it seems like the Palestinian supporters or Palestinian encampment has run out of faith and hope. Toronto, University of Toronto, they were given an injunction by police to basically disband all of the encampments, and they had until today to do it, or the police had the authority to go in and do whatever they wanted to do to get rid of it. And people are complying. They are getting rid of it themselves. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming, but they are finally getting rid of it. The tarps are coming down. The tents are coming down. It's almost like this wasn't meant, this plot of land here wasn't meant to be an encampment. And it's more like it was a university campus and we should just keep it that way. Maybe. Let's just try. But we have global news that is on the ground here. And let's just take a look at some of the footage.
But first of all, that court injunction you talked about, Ontario Justice Marcus Conan releasing that decision just at 4:30 today. And the bottom line here is we see that these protesters are ordered to leave by 6 p.m. on July the 3rd. That is basically 24 hours from now. And the ruling gives the police the authority to be able to make arrests, to be able to come and move people out if they decide not to leave on their own. This encampment has been in place since May the 2nd. We're now at July the 2nd. It's been 62 days. And the judge finding that while there was no anti-Semitic speech here, according to the judge, and that there were no threats to others, the fact is that this property belongs to the University of Toronto and they are entitled to get it back. Here's part of what we heard from the podium from one of the protesters just a few minutes ago.
Our resolve is stronger than ever. We've said from day one that we will not leave this campus until U of T discloses, divests, and cuts ties. That commitment stands firm. The university's shameful attempt to use legal force to brutalize its own students for the crime of protesting genocide will go down in history as a disgraceful chapter for this institution.
We should not be surprised by the outcome that this court has found that private property owners can control what is done on their land. This is repeatedly what is done in injunction cases when people stand up collectively and when they try to challenge the status quo.
I'm sorry, what? Did she just question that private property owners could do what they want with their land? I'm at a loss for words. I believe that that's what I heard. Yeah, welcome to life. Welcome to reality. Good job.
So angry words coming from the podium there from the protesters, but I asked over and over again the same question: will you leave as the judge has ordered by 6 o'clock tomorrow? They say that they're going to keep their protest up, but with respect to whether they're going to take their tents down and move from this camp, did not get a straight answer. They would not absolutely answer that. They talked about the violence that police would bring if they came here tomorrow, but again, no definitive answers from the protesters on whether they will voluntarily leave. But legally, the University of Toronto will have the right to have police move them out here as of 6 p.m. tomorrow. We'll have to see what happens between now and then.
Wow. Well, this is going to go down in history for sure. And I don't think it's going to go down the way that these Palestinian supporters think that it will, in the sense that they will be viewed as the victims in the story. I think that the university has been a hostage for a very long time with these encampments. Now, look, what the Palestinian supporter protests have done, right, with their walking on the streets, those protests, like, that hasn't been an issue, minus, of course, all of the smoke grenades and stuff like that and flares that they've been using. Those protests have been absolutely legal, right? Like, you walk the streets, you get a police escort, it was organized, and then everyone goes home, and they repeat it every day, every week. It's just reoccurring. It's been going on for over 6 months, but nonetheless, that was the legal way of doing it, and still is the legal way of doing it. Taking over a university campus, not so much the legal way, but I'd love to know what you guys think down below in this in the comments. Is this good? Is this bad? Let me know. Next up, we have Justin Trudeau, who is pretty much like Neo from The Matrix. He's dodging questions as if they are bullets coming at him. He's just doing that Matrix thing of going underneath and wiggling his arms. It's pretty impressive, I gotta say. But let's take a look at what Trudeau, how he navigates these very simple questions with very bizarre answers.
Why are you refusing to meet with the National Caucus? Your MPs are calling for an urgent in-person meeting of all MPs. Why are you refusing? And do we interpret from that that you don't care what they have to say?
Listen, let's be very clear. Last week's by-election loss, not to sugarcoat it, was challenging. Was something we need to take seriously, and we've been engaged in lots of important conversations. I've had lots of calls with different members of caucus from across the country, not just in the GTA, to talk about how we make sure we're continuing our work connecting with Canadians to make sure we're continuing to deliver for people. There are, as always, a range of perspectives and voices within the Liberal Party, and listening to all those voices and giving them all time to engage is really, really important. And that's what we've been doing, what I'm going to continue to do while we stay focused on delivering for Canadians.
Yeah, see, no one believes that you're going to deliver for Canadians. Like, you have the all-time lowest support that any single prime minister or government has ever had. You are skirting from any questions and any accountability. There is no more Liberal government. It's coming to an end, buddy. Like, just admit defeat. We want to stop being gaslit. We want that closure. At least I know I do. I want that closure. I want Trudeau to just say, you know what, we've messed up, and we're going to call an election and let Canadians decide. That's what the Canadians deserve, man. That's what not only we want, but we deserve to get. As people who have very much put up with this shit for far too long, we deserve Trudeau to just wave that white flag and move on with his life so we can move on with ours. Let's continue this this interview.
Whether you're a Liberal or a Conservative in Canada, voters tend to give prime ministers, or have always given prime ministers in the last 100+ years, the door after 9 or 10 years. Why do you think you're different?
Listen, there is a challenge faced by democracies all around the world right now. Whether we look at what's going on in France, whether we look at the election in the United States, whether we look at any democracy around the world where we are seeing increasing challenges to people's well-beings, greater anxieties, an erosion of democratic principles and rights. This is a really important time for governments to step up and deliver concretely for citizens, to restore and encourage faith in the institutions that are there, to deliver things like more childcare spaces, to deliver better access to dental care for people who don't have insurance, to deliver more housing with the most ambitious housing plan this country has ever seen. These are the things that we need to stay focused on, and that's exactly what I'm working hard on right now.
Prochaine question. Bonjour, Sarah Levitt, CBC. With all due respect, my two colleagues have asked the same question and they have not received a specific answer. The question is, will you hold a national in-person caucus with your party, with the MPs?
As I've said, I will continue to engage and to talk and to listen and to meet with all my MPs from across the country to talk about how we can both understand what we need to improve on, given last week's by-election defeat, but also how we continue to be there for Canadians in a really important moment. People are anxious in Canada and around the world, and a government needs to be stepping up to deliver for people, whether it's delivering more housing and support on rents, whether it's delivering more spaces in childcare, whether it's delivering dental care services. These are all things that the Conservative Party has said they will cut or eliminate. These are the things that actually matter for Canadians. These are the things that we are focused on as a team.
I am starting to be convinced that Justin Trudeau is a robot. This doesn't make any sense. This is mainstream media that has been kissing his ass and licking his boots for years, and they have offered nothing but softball questions to make Justin Trudeau's life just a tiny bit easier and make him look good through all of these murky waters. But now, not only are you at the end of your rope, you're completely fed up, I'm assuming. I'm completely fed up, right? I'm just drained emotionally. Mainstream media is also completely fed up. And you're seeing this with the questions that they're answering. They're no longer softball questions. It's very direct and to the point. And not only are they asking very direct questions, they're also calling out Justin Trudeau for his non-answers and is bullshit. And everybody is fed up. And this is the final straw. This is the final domino that's going to fall, that's going to bring down the entire Liberal government, is once you piss off the reporters that are asking you questions, and they're the only people, the media is the only group that actually supports Justin Trudeau anymore. Well, now that they don't, we're going to have to wait and see how this turns out, because it's insane. It's absolutely insane that Justin Trudeau is getting away with this. This face is a great depiction of his personality. Just a blank, empty stare. Let's continue this here. We're almost done.
Follow up. There are members of your caucus that are considering leaving if you do stay on. What's your reaction to that? And are you willing to stay on and lose members of your caucus?
I think the conversations that I'm having with MPs directly right across the country, and the conversations that we're all having as Liberals are going to continue, and we're going to stay focused on Canadians. I can't speak to what people in the media are thinking. That's your job. But I can speak to the strength and focus that all Liberals have on delivering for Canadians, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Prochaine question.
Yeah, no, people are fed up and they deserve better, man. We pay our taxes, we abide the laws, we're productive members of society, and this is what we get. A leader that is full of bullshit, that it's seeping out of his eyes and his mouth. It's horrendous, and I feel bad, but we got to have the stamina to go a little bit more, get through the summer, get back into the main meat and potatoes parliament, right? When question period is in, when they're all sitting in the house, and that's when you're going to start to see Trudeau really crack under pressure. The craziest part too is that even though Justin Trudeau is no longer fit, and there's an argument to make that he was never fit for this job as Prime Minister of Canada, his replacement, Mark Carney, is not much better at all. In fact, there's reasons to believe that because of his level of competence and his, resume, he comes in a little bit more qualified than Justin Trudeau, and a little bit more devilish-like, which obviously, in the grand scheme of things, might not actually be that good of a replacement for Justin Trudeau. Let's take a look at this here from Wiretap Media. They clipped this in a recent keynote address. Globalist shill Mark Carney insinuated that anyone who opposes liberal democracy is part of an authoritarian regime, and the Canadian geopolitical landscape can no longer rely on the rules based on international order. Translation: we must open our doors to the communist Chinese to succeed. That is a very scary statement.
It's a time where, around the world, authoritarianism is on the march. It's a time when small L liberal values of tolerance, equality, liberty, and opportunity aren't only challenged, they're openly mocked. It's a time when some leaders around the world are accumulating power only for themselves rather than to promote the common good.
Like Justin Trudeau.
The enemies of liberal democracy are cynics. They don't believe that progress is possible. And more importantly, they want their citizens, and actually our citizens, we see it with interference, they want our citizens to think that progress isn't possible. And they make the charge that to believe otherwise is foolish, it's elitist. They divide the people before they divide the spoils. We're living through a hinge moment of history that was sprung by a series of crises in finance, in health, in energy, and in geopolitics. The global economy is being rewired across trade, across energy systems, across intelligence itself. Trade hasn't grown in aggregate across goods, services, capital since the global financial crisis in 2008. And more fundamentally, what's happening is that trade is now being reordered by a series of protectionist measures, measures to de-risk commercial relationships, de-risk geopolitical relationships. So we have a rapidly changing world, and it's a world in which we, as Canadians, it's true for America, but you have a little more influence, we as Canadians can no longer rely on the rules-based order for market access. we need to be smarter. We need to focus on key sectors. We need to create a coherent tax system. We need to help our people get the skills to master their machines. And we need to build our core competencies from clean energy to compute. And what we also need to do at the same time, and we can do this at the same time, is to help shape the new international order with our like-minded partners, above all, the United States.
Scary times, folks. This is absolutely scary because Mark Carney is, I mean, there's lots of reasons to believe that he is going to take Justin Trudeau's place, or maybe Chrystia Freeland will, or maybe Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau are the ones leaving the party. Mark Carney comes in, or maybe it's somebody else. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of data to back up a whole bunch of different theories. But we're going to have to wait and see how this turns out. But one thing that I think a lot of people can agree on, and just help me settle this right now down in the comments, is a lot of people want Justin Trudeau to run in the next election because he is so hated, because there is such little to no chance of him ever becoming prime minister ever again, that's the best way. Go down with the ship and just lose and let's just end it right then and there. And I mean, I personally think that might be best, because if he does get replaced by Mark Carney, I think literally anybody, I think this water bottle, this juice box water bottle thingy could do better than Justin Trudeau running as the Liberal Party. So if that is to be true, then yes, Justin Trudeau should run in the next election, and he should lose with a fat loss. I mean, that would just make so many people happy, including myself. But I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where we're going to end this video. On your way out, I would like to encourage you guys to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.